All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Baseball and Coffee. Today is Thursday, July 10th. It's 9:51. I was 1 minute late to the stream. Just trying to figure some more of these features out. But the good news is I have figured out how to use the chat. So today, hopefully, a few people can join me and we can chat a little bit and explore some topics together. But I want to get right into it today. We're going to head over to the main screen. I want to get right into it today. We're going to go to Cam Schlittler, who pitched last night for the Yankees. It was his major league debut. And the reason why I care so much about this, number one, I love debuts. But the reason why I really, really like this debut is because Mr. Cam Schlittler went to Northeastern, which is where I went. Huskies represented in this edition of Baseball and Coffee today. So let's see if we can pull this kid up. We're just going to take a few little peeks. I think I just want to show the at-bats versus Cal Raleigh, because Cal Raleigh's obviously in the hunt for MVP this year. So I thought it was pretty interesting that he got to face one of the hottest hitters in the world. Great player all around, $100 million man in his debut. And he actually gets his first career punchy versus Cal, so that's pretty cool. But I'll pop out the old iPad here, and let's dig in a little bit to his at-bats versus Cal Raleigh.
Still up 36-34, but by the season's end, I'm taking Judge.
All right, so first thing you're going to notice about Mr. Schlittler, Cam here, they gave him 31. That's a nice number. The thing that you're going to notice, first thing you're going to see with this guy is he throws hard. Yesterday, he literally averaged 98 on his heater, and it's a decent vertical break with kind of a cut shape. I would actually say this shape is sort of similar to Tyler Glasnow with a little bit less lift.
And I'm taking Judge.
But okay, let's see how he goes at him here. Here's the curveball. Nice curveball out of this high slot. You're gonna get you're gonna have a pretty good combo with a cut, like a little bit of a perceived cut on the four seam, and then a curveball combo.
Leaning up against the railing.
It's a pretty easy 99, to be honest. That comes out hot.
1-2.
Ends up doubling up, and there's his first career punchy. Pretty good guy to have in the book, first page of your book. In the big leagues, we call it having somebody in the book when you've punched them out. Anybody that you've punched out is now in the book forever. So pretty interesting that he's got Cal Raleigh as his first guy in the book. That's a good guy. My guy was Kosuke Fukudome. Some people might know him, some people might not, but I think obviously you want to strike out the most famous player you possibly can. All right, let's check out how he goes at him the second time. Here's the slider shape, which is probably the fastest slider in the game on average. Just guessing for a starter. He was throwing 93-mile-an-hour sliders yesterday. And he's going to kind of jam him here a little bit with the four seam.
Popped up on the left side.
See, that's only 1.4 inches of horizontal break. This is what I'm looking at right here, is this window here. We got a 1.4 inches of horizontal break and 15 on the vertical break. So it's kind of an average vertical profile, but from a horizontal profile, it's going to show a little bit of a cut. And if you look at this pitch, it does kind of get in on Cal a little bit here. Yeah, handcuffs him just a bit. Gets the big pop up. 65 doesn't even make it out of the infield. And then he's going to punch him out a second time.
That you can't use tomorrow.
See the big man make a pick off. Got a little drop glove here. Yeah, okay. Keep your eyes here on the catcher's mitt. As soon as that catcher's mitt's gonna wiggle, he's gonna pick. There's the wiggle. There's the pick. All right, so that's what a drop glove pick looks like. This was in the 6th inning. He's still averaging over 97 in this inning. So holding his velocity very well in his major league debut. Slider 91.6. High slider, sometimes a good pitch. They kind of see spin and guys go under it. That's kind of what happens here. In the driver's seat versus big dumper. Dead zone slider, pretty good pitch. No bite. Four seam in heater. And it looks like he's going to doors him again. Yeah, up and away, swing through 98. This is a really good location when you're looking for a swing through right on left. Hey, we got some people in the chat. Hey, Adam, love the show. What is the name of the iPad app for players to watch MLB game clips? This app is called the Dugout app. I can actually show you on the screen. It just says Dugout here, down here on the little icon. And yeah, this is the app that you see all the players staring at in the dugout or in the bullpen. And yeah, it kind of replaced the old video room. Back before the cheating scandals, guys used to watch their stuff in the video room, which would usually be a separate space with a bunch of laptops hooked up with all the clips. You could go down there and kind of review your at-bats. And then in the wake of the cheating scandal, they kind of moved all that more out into the open. And they have these iPads in the dugout. And when you're watching live on this iPad, the broadcast view doesn't populate until the next half inning. So you can't really see the broadcast view. You can see all these crude rudimentary views like center field and all the side angles, but the broadcast view won't populate till a half inning goes by. So anyway, that's kind of the way this works. But good question, the baseball purist. All right, so I want to take a quick look at this guy. We're just going to look at his mechanics a little bit because I think it's interesting. For Mr. Schlittler here. He is obviously a tall dude, but he takes kind of a short stride. It's not like a big leap off the mound here. It's a short stride. And that you can see how that's demonstrated when you go look at his extension number, 6.4 on the extension right here. I compared him earlier to Tyler Glasnow in terms of pitch shapes and velocity. Like, he throws just as hard as Glasnow. It's probably a similar arm angle, kind of a tall release. It's going to be a lot of hard pitches, hard fastball with a little cut to it like Glasnow has. He has more ride, but it's a similar cut profile. The curveball off of that, and then the slider for the in-between speed in the middle. That's kind of be what Mr. Schlittler will be working with. The only difference is he's getting to the plate. He's releasing the ball 1 foot further from the plate than a guy like Glasnow. So if he had 7.4 inches of extension, we'd be talking about, one of the most elite fastballs in the game, similar to like a Mizorowski fastball and obviously a Glasnow fastball. But we're going to have to kind of see how this one ends up playing out. It's only a 6.4 extension, yet it comes out really good. I mean, this is a 98.1. Let's see kind of why we think he throws 98.1, because to the looks of me, he's not like the biggest, strongest, most physical guy in the world. Well, the first thing you'll notice is there's a lot of intent there. He waits a really long time before he uses his energy. There's kind of a float down the mound and then an explode as soon as his front foot lands. Explode. And explode. So he does a really good job kind of holding his energy back until the last second. And because of that short stride, it sets him up in a really good place for lower half timing. The lower half lands. He's got a nice stretch through this pec area here. It's all stretched back. I mean, through the chest, the core, all the way into the shoulder. The pec's fully stretched right here, ready to fire. And then the front knee, if you watch the front knee, the way it snaps into place, and with really good timing, which sends a little bit more. It's called the lead leg block, and that sends a lot of energy back up through the system. And that's why I think he throws so hard, so easy. If you watch him with a lot of these pitches, the ball's coming out very, very, very easy for a 97.5. It's a very fast arm, but I think a lot of that's just elite lower half timing. You can see on the actual broadcast cam how easy this looks. I mean, it doesn't look like it's any type of situation where he's like trying to win, a doll at the fair for his girlfriend. He's just like grunting with everything he's got. Comes out real easy. So that's a great place to start with. It's great to have another Husky in the big leagues. There's a lot of chatter yesterday from the boys at Northeastern, guys I played with, texting, "Oh, you seen this kid pitch? He's debuting for the Yankees. How cool is this? What do you think?" So it's cool to get the boys talking, and the Huskies have done a great job with their program. Mike Glavin, Tom's brother, has taken over. He's been there about 20 years now, and he just led them to their best record ever as a school. They were number 2 seed, ended up losing twice to Mississippi State. So I owe Jonathan Holder a little bit of bragging rights there. But great program. We're starting to get more guys to the big leagues. So Schlittler and Aaron Savali are the 2 current representatives, so keep an eye out for those Huskies. All right, so that's it for him. I like what we've seen so far. Throws hard, got some good pitches, goes right at him. Got clipped for 2 homers. I thought he controlled his emotions very well in this game. I did watch quite a bit of it yesterday, which was fun. It was fun for me to watch a guy that I feel like I have some connection to, even though I don't know him. All right, now my second guy I want to look at is Andrew Abbott. I'm going to go ahead and look at his stats a little bit because I think they're fascinating. So he had a really good start yesterday versus the Marlins. No real point in digging in too hard to that video. You know, it's the Marlins. I just did a video where Brandon Woodruff kind of shoved versus the Marlins, and you know, no point in showing that team hit twice. But what I want to ask to the chat is why is he good? Why is Andrew Abbott good? This year, he's not really featuring any different stuff than he had the previous 2 years. If you go to his Fangraph page and we look at the pitch models, the Stuff Plus models, so this line is what I'm talking about down here. It has him as a 96 Stuff Plus, had him at a 94 Stuff Plus last year. Both of these scores are below average. Yeah, it's a slight bump up this year, and the location has gotten better. But there really hasn't been anything that jumps off the page in terms of process here with his pitches. Like, he hasn't switched up a ton of what he's doing. He's throwing more changeups, but it's nothing crazy. Let me see if I can pull up some of his other stats. I even looked at his breakdown by pitch. Nothing jumped out there in the Pitcher Plinko app on Baseball Savant, which is really fun. You know, if you go back to his basic counting stats from the last 2 years, he was kind of a high 3 ERA in both in 24 and in 23. His walks were a little bit higher. He was at 3.4 walks last year per 9, 3.6 the year before. Neither are really alarming. He is down to 2.4, but I feel like these are modest gains for him to go from a high 3 to a low 2 ERA seemingly overnight. And I'm just wondering, why do we think that he's so good? I do want to watch a little bit of his video from last night just so we can get a sense of what I'm talking about with his delivery. Maybe there might be some clues. I would love for some people in the chat to chime in here. What makes Andrew Abbott actually effective? And I have a couple ideas, but I think we need to look at them visually. All right, so the first thing you're going to notice here is that he steps across his body. He starts on the middle of the rubber with the back foot. So he's on the middle here, and then the front foot comes down way over here. So typically they would teach you to kind of keep your legs more in a straight line, your feet more in a straight line towards home plate. And in theory, this would give you more degrees of rotation in your hips, and it would probably generate more velocity. But a lot of guys, myself included, like to take a little bit more of a closed step. And I always felt like, number one, this gave me a little bit more leverage to kind of rotate around my front leg when I'm closed and kind of get through my breaking balls and create a little bit more spin. But I also think that it creates a little bit of deception to the hitter. And I think that's maybe what Andrew Abbott is benefiting from big time with this delivery. Seems to hide the ball pretty well. He's one of the league leaders in exit velocity, which tells you guys they're hitting him, but they're a little bit off. They're not exactly barreling him. They're not exactly barreling him the way that you would expect given his stuff profile. Oh, Matty Bowman in the chat. Top of what makes him specifically good. Lefties generally perform extremely well. Yeah, that is true. That's a good comment, Matty B. The lefties have been unbelievable this year in MLB. It's actually something that me and Matt talked about this offseason a little bit, is like, are lefties the meta right now, especially as starters? I think there's something to be said for the base running issues that righties have, holding the steals with all the new rules that made it so easy to steal. I think lefties are just naturally more prone to kind of squashing that. They can obviously do their lift their leg and be deceptive with their pickoff, and they can slide step, and that usually shuts it down. But I also think a lot of the best hitters in the game are left-handed. This is a mystery. This is a mystery a little bit because the stats have been a little glaring. Lefties are way, way, way outperforming righties so far this season, and I'm curious what you guys think about that as well. But what do you guys think about the deception piece here for Abbott? It's a mediocre fastball in terms of speed for today's big league. He's got a little bit of ride to him. Another theory is that a lot of guys who step cross body end up throwing sinkers, more of an east-west approach, and he's more of an up-down approach. So maybe there's something to do with like the expectation of the hitter based off the way that the pitcher is striding. I don't know. It's a good question. When I go look at his Savant page, you can see a couple of small clues that might give us a little bit of an idea of what he's doing better. Like if we go down to his Let's see here. Arm angle crept up a tough. I don't think that's... Okay, so in the plate discipline category here. First pitch strikes up to 63.1. Last year was 61, so it's a 1.5% boost. But it's almost a 3%. It's a full 3 percentage points on edge percentage. So he is keeping the ball out of the middle. He's working the edges more, and his walks are down. So he's kind of doing the trick of throwing more strikes while also throwing harder to hit strikes. Is that sustainable? I think so. I think command is a skill that can be honed and perfected and strengthened over time. I mean, it might ebb and flow a little bit like anything else, but I do think that guys can tangibly get better at hitting their spots. Whiff rate's about the same as always. So because he's been a little bit more on the edges, the chase is slightly up. He's up to 30% chase, which is excellent. But other than that, everything's kind of the same. If we go look at some of his percentile rankings from the previous years, everything's kind of the same. He's gotten better and better at limiting hard contact. But I will say one thing that's interesting, being that Great American Ballpark is his home park, he's an extreme fly ball pitcher. Not a ground ball guy at all. His air percentage, if you look over here on the left here, air percentage, MLB average is 55.7, and he's like 68% this year, all the way to 70% in 2023. So he's letting balls in the air in a notoriously scary ballpark to let balls in the air. I do think it might help a little bit that mound is a little flat in Cincinnati. I don't know if you can actually get a little visual of this. You can kind of see even on this still screenshot, and pitchers around the league have often talked about this. This mound, compared to everywhere else in the league, just feels flatter. So because it feels flatter, it feels like you have more of a steep approach angle when you're trying to throw up in the zone. So maybe that's helping him a little bit, helping his fastball play above its vertical break number. That's another theory. But this is a little bit of a mystery to me. He is a good fun guy to watch pitch because he's very effective in using his pitches, even though they're not necessarily the most swing and miss type of pitches. He does a really good job. Like here, he falls behind, I believe. Oh no, he gets him with a changeup to roll over into double play. It's not a perfectly located pitch by any means, but he gets exactly what he's looking for. It's got 10 vertical break. It's not something that you would normally think would dominate like it has, but he's been dominant. Okay, we got a little action in the chat. Four-seam run value is flipped from 24, missing pull side fly balls. Okay, so he's challenging guys to take him oppo maybe a little bit more. That's a good theory. Maybe we can dig in on that for a second. Because I do think it has a batted ball profile in terms of... There's something here. Oh, it's not there. Where is this? Quality of contact. All but okay, yeah. Fly balls, line drives, and pop-ups by direction. Pull air. Oh, he's elite and not allowing you to pull the ball in the air. Okay. Oppo air, 26.4 this year, up from 21. So yeah, 5% more balls going to the opposite field in the air. That's a pretty good theory, Dugganism. Mitch, I know who that is. But that's a good theory. I like that. Keep the ball in the air, but you keep it to the opposite field. Not a lot of guys are going to take you out, even in that crackerjack of a ballpark. All right, baseball purist. Adam, just speaking for yourself, did you always have the desire to one day transition from a reliever to starter? Oh, absolutely. I always saw myself as a starter. It was tough for me a little bit. I think the relief job itself lent itself to my skill set. I got to pitch a little bit more often. I didn't have to, sit on my good or bad outings for too long. For me, that was tough mentally, like if I pitched poorly. But I think the practical side of it is just, if I'm starting a game, they're going to put 8 or 9 lefties in there, which is my weakness, and they're going to run on me all day. And as the rules continue to change, that became really tricky for me. I felt like I had the arsenal to navigate a lineup, but there was limitations that I was never going to get to face righties except for elite righties, so I wasn't going to get those easy outs. And also I think the running game would have been a problem at a much greater volume than it already was, in crunch time. So I think for those reasons, starting probably wouldn't have worked out for me. I wish I could have cleaned up those areas. I wish it could have been better, because I think there's nothing better than when it's your day and you get to be that starting pitcher and everybody knows it's your day. Your family can come watch you. They don't have to guess when you're going to pitch, which was always an issue in my career. Are you going to pitch tonight, Dad? Well, I don't know. It depends on the score. So I'll let you know about midway through the game if I think we have a good shot. So that's kind of the way that's worked out. I'm loving the chat today. This has been a lot of fun so far. All right, well, while we're here, so I think that's it for Andrew Abbott. As you can see, he's dominating. 97th percentile in pitching run value. He's on the way to the All-Star game in Atlanta. It's well-deserved. I think for kids out there who want to become great pitchers, I think it's important to remember that this is a skill sport and command is a huge part of this thing. If you can improve your command a couple percentage points like Abbott does, there's huge jump in actual tangible results for you. Stuff-wise, sometimes you can chase stuff all you want. There's no guarantee of success there. Sometimes it's a big difference. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you get hurt trying. Abbott does a good job of kind of just being who he is, but perfecting that. So figure out what you're good at and perfect that. All right, now I want to take a moment to go take a quick leaderboard look at the StatCast park factors for this season, because this is a very interesting situation developing with the A's. Suter Health Park, which is in Sacramento. They have a park factor of 112 this year, which makes it the second best park to hit in the league. Right behind Coors Field. The fact that anybody's within a few percentage points of Coors Field is crazy to me, and I think that factor might be a little off just from the lack of quality in the Rockies offense this year. I think normally you'd see this number pushed up into the 120s. It would really be separating itself from the pack. But this year it's only 1 percentage point ahead of Suter Health Park, the ballpark in Sacramento where the River Cats play or used to play. Maybe they still play there. I'm not really sure, but the big culprit is home runs and doubles. Seems like home runs and doubles. That's what the game's about these days anyway, but it seems like it's friendly on almost every type of hit type except for triples, which nobody gets triples anyway. It caught my attention a little bit because in last night's game with the Braves and the A's, Acuna hit 2 homers. And the first one is insane how far it went, because I played in this ballpark. This ball literally is just gone. Like, I don't know where this ball goes. Let's touch it. I mean, there's not much of a backdrop in this stadium, but he hits it onto that tarp. He hits it onto that tarp on top of... So this is the clubhouse out here. This is how boo-boo this place is. This is the clubhouse out here. And he hits this ball like right over here. You can see it hit there on the tarp. Really, this place is crazy, because normally there'd be some stands back there. Somebody catching this ball, and you would have a little bit of perspective of how far this went. Because this doesn't even have it. We don't even have any of the data. It just says it was hit at 110 at 34, but we don't have any of the data. Just for fun, let's watch Ronnie from the side for one pitch. Yeah, I think he knew. All right, let's watch his second homer. It's a slider.
Here's the pitch, and this is in the air.
I mean, 106 at 25, Oppo comfortably gone.
And watch it go into the bullpen.
I'm not sure if this has gone everywhere. I'm not sure if this has gone everywhere, but the fact that this ballpark has produced these results in terms of, offensive production is a little bit surprising to me, because I played in the PCL for really way too long, but like 3 years, maybe even parts of 4 seasons. And yeah, the west part of the league is the crazy part of the league. That's the part where all the home runs happen and all the crazy offense, but this was not one of the parks that we feared. This park always felt like it played kind of neutral. And in fact, when we won the AAA championship, when I was with the Memphis Redbirds in 2009, the final game was pitched by this guy, Evan McLean, and he threw basically a complete game shutout in the final game. All the games were low scoring in that series, and that just kind of felt like the vibe at the time. Like, it was more of a pitcher's park and a hitter's league. But now you put it into the big leagues, you got big league balls, you got big league hitters in there, and all of a sudden the ball's flying out, and it's basically saying it's the second best park to hit in besides Coors. And I'd love to hear somebody else's theories on this. Yeah, Mitch, that slider was 3 balls off this homer. Let's see. Let's see exactly where this is located. Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Ronald. He rubs a lot of people the wrong way on opposing teams, but there's nobody who has more respect in the box than this guy. He's a freak, and I think one of the scariest moments for any player is when Ronnie's leading off the game and you have to throw that first pitch fastball down the middle, first pitch, and you know he might swing. I think him and George Springer are two guys, or Altuve's batting leadoff, where you're just like, is he going to swing at this first pitch and hit a homer, and we're going to be down 1-0? Do I throw the slider? Do I show weakness? What do I do here? And I think that's a tricky question to ask yourself. He's got a lot of action going on his skit as he rounds the bases. Yep. Watch the sauce here. We're gonna stop. We're gonna back up. We're gonna sidestep. We got some hand motions. Gotta thank God, obviously. Throw the money in the air. Get all your handshakes done. Pop the chains. But you can do it when you're this good. All right, we got some ideas here. Heat and wind are definitely factoring the ball carrying more. I think that's totally true. Humidity isn't nerfing guys' pitch movement like it does in the other PCL parks. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So if guys are nasty, but the ball's carrying a little more. It is humid. Sacramento's a little more inland in California than all the other California ballparks that I can think of that are in the big leagues. But it is crazy that it's playing like this. Might be a good idea to sign up there for a 1-year Johnson if you're a hitter. If you're a pitcher, maybe stay clear. I don't know. I don't know. Last year they gave out some money that nobody thought they were going to give out, so that was interesting. And I know Sevy's been complaining a little bit about the ballpark and its minor league feel, but I don't know. Money's money, and it's the big leagues. And in a few years they're going to be in Vegas, and I imagine that'll be even better run-scoring environment. That might be similar to Coors, because Vegas and AAA is wild. Vegas and AAA is a big issue. All right. Do we have anything else on the notes? Not really. I mean, I could watch some catchers throw some guys out stealing. If there's anything you guys want me to check out, please hit me in the chat. I'll probably hang out for another couple minutes. We can watch some side views of some homers. I know Mike Trout homered last night. Who'd they play last night? Who did the Angels play last night? I should know this. Texas, that's right. Yeah, it was off of Kumar. All right, so let's go there real quick. Angels and Texas Rangers. We'll go to Trouty. I bet you both balls are in the bottom half of the zone. What do you guys think? Shocker. Bottom half of the zone. Scoops it out. Dead center. I always felt like Anaheim was a terrible place to hit. But he makes this place look small. And Pete Alonso and some other guys have told me that they actually really like to hit there. Good visuals and stuff. And they did move the fences in and down a little bit in right field. But no surprise here. Low pitch. This is exactly where Mike wants it. He wants it in the bottom half of the zone. He just cleans it out. Let's check him out from the side. Yeah, I mean, the swing is just so dialed to that location. It's, he doesn't create any separation. He rotates it all together. This is not what a lot of guys would teach. But it's late. It's super snappy. He stays stacked really well. And that's why I think he can launch later than other guys and still put a lot of oomph into the ball. All right, so there's the first dinger. Here's the second one. Same Kumar. I guarantee it's in the bottom half. Let's see.
No. Dark crevices. Yes. 1 ball, no strikes. As Trout lines one out to right field.
Oppo homer. That's rare for Trout. But yeah, bottom half. He crushed this ball. 106 Oppo. Man, if he's going to go Oppo, the league better watch out. He might be getting hot because he doesn't do that. He goes center to left. All right, here we go. What is your best memory in this ballpark? My guy, Jay. I was just talking about it, Jay. I was talking about when we won the title, 09, Memphis. Sick with all the boys. Then we got kicked out of the bar that night. It was good times. I'm blaming Shane Robinson for the record, but no, we had a great team. A lot of my guys from my draft. That was a fun season. And all those guys, they went up and won the World Series with the Cardinals in 11, so that was a fun team to be a part of. I heard the third level MLB stadiums are the biggest factor to less than home runs. So that's a wind idea, baseball purist. I think that might be true. Let's see if we can go back to those park factors here. So these are the top parks for offense. Dodger Stadium is another one that's crept up over the years, but I really wonder how much of a factor like the quality of guys that are hitting in your stadium are to these numbers. Baltimore for sure. It used to be crazy good to hit there before they moved the wall back. Now they moved it in, so I don't know where we are anymore, but it's hot there. Ball flies. That used to be a suicide mission to pitch in the AL East, being for Baltimore. Red Sox, yep, you got the wall and left. Got some weird dimensions. Diamondbacks, kind of similar to Coors. Huge outfield, big gaps. A little bit of altitude. I always felt nasty there, but at Chase Field in Arizona, but I also always felt like infield was fast, outfield was fast, a lot of space, speed plays, ball carries well in the gaps. Toronto, it's more of like a roof open, home run situation. Roof closed always felt fine. Philly, it's short down the lines. Target field, that's surprising because I know Morneau and Kadire and Maurer and those guys used to complain quite a bit. They used to like the Metrodome, and then they go there to Target field, and it wasn't the same. But Target's pretty good down the lines, too. And sure enough, Angel Stadium, 101, so right around neutral, but good. Steinbrenner, I thought, would have ranked higher, being that it's Yankees, but even hotter. It's crazy that the Yankees is at a 98. And then way down here, pulling up the rear, I mean, the Rangers, Mariners, and Brewers. I mean, Brewers is good hitting. What am I missing about the Brewers? Brewers feel short everywhere. That just might be that their whole staff throws 100. So I'm curious kind of how the quality of the players on your team affect these numbers quite a bit. I think that was something that I would love feedback on. If anybody has some theories on that. I don't know. It's interesting to look at. Obviously, the balls change every year. There's a lot of factors that change, but this is just this year. Yep, Citi Field, great pitcher's park. That's the only pitcher's park I ever played in. That's a good feeling as a pitcher to know that they got to really crush you to hit it over the wall. Makes you have a little more aggression in the zone, I'd say. But yeah, Suter Health, Sacramento. Good memories there, and they are now a big league ballpark somehow. They're number 2. Colorado and Athletics both have high park factor, but below average hard hit. Screams environmental factors. I think that's true. So yeah, you're right. He's right. There's blue here in the hard hit category. So that does scream. I mean, Coors, we all know. Coors, we all know what it is. There's too much space out there. But Suter Health, I think we have to pay attention to the wind. Maybe I need to dig in a little bit more on that, but something to keep an eye on. I think that's going to wrap up today's show. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. It was a good time. I really appreciate the back and forth and the feedback. I think that's working well. Hopefully we get some good baseball tonight. Maybe that's what we'll do real quick. We'll go check the pitching probables for tonight. For today, we got double headers going. My guy, Petey, on the mound versus Charlie Morton. I love both of these pitchers. Obviously, Peterson's my dude. That's my guy. Hope he shoves today. First game, 12:05, coming up hot. And tonight they're going to face Sugano, who's an interesting pitcher, absolute legend in Japan, but has a low strikeout rate, trying to make it work. Colin Ray, Chris Paddock, that's a pretty good matchup. Cal Quantrill, Nick Lodolo. Been keeping an eye on the Reds. I like the Reds' young roster a lot. Brian Wu and the Stroh Show. It's a battle of contrasting styles. One guy who's going to throw almost all fastballs in Wu, and another guy who's going to throw hardly any fastballs in Stroman at very different points in their career, but both guys who can get outs. I love watching Marcus when he's on. He's super athletic out there, creative. He nibbles, but he's got good command to do it. Taj Bradley, Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler's looking to, I think, win his second straight game and kind of get on a roll here. He could really use it. Logan Allen, Jonathan Cannon. Okay. Michael Soroka, Miles Michaelis. That's a good matchup. And then Spencer Strider, who's been really hitting lately. He's been really nasty lately. And JP Sears. Patrick Corbin, who I'm a big fan of. I think he doesn't get enough credit for his durability. I know he really fell off a lot with the Nats, but he did take him to a championship. And he's a New York guy, too. South Troy Dodgers, I believe. So I always root for him. And then Erod, my guy, big command guy. If his command's on, he's great. His stuff's not what it used to be. And Randy Vasquez, who came over in that Soto trade from the Yankees. So we got some games today. I'll definitely be locked in on that Mets doubleheader, of course. 12:05. They kind of have the whole runway that day. They have cleared everybody out, so I'll be watching the Mets. Hope you guys will be too. And we'll be here same time tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Baseball and Coffee with Adam Ottavino, and I will be back probably same time tomorrow, 9:45, 9:50. I'll announce it. And thanks so much for interacting today, and have a great day.